Hello guys, welcome to another Ask Me Anything. Today's I'm gonna answer another audience. This is Terence Fu Kai Wai. Hi Chu Chen, love your content. I would like to know the difference between all road bike. I'm really interested in Canyon after watching your video. When I browse through the website, there are so many types. Aero, endurance, triathlon, race, and also gravel. Oh my god, so confusing. So first of all, thank you Terence for writing in. I actually plan to do this explanation video myself, even you didn't send in the enquiry, but since you are sending in, so might as well I will just do it all together, right? So for those who are not into road bike, I know a lot of you are like at the folding bike enthusiasts, right? Road bike basically break down into a few different categories by most of the brands lah. Namely can be aero bike, lightweight or also known as race bike, and also endurance, or also known as all-rounder bike. So this is the main three categories in road bike. I will start with these three first, and then the others I will add on to explain. So all these three bikes have different priorities when the brand design them. As the name explains, aero bike is all about aerodynamic. Race bike or lightweight bike is all about the weight and stiffness, and then the endurance or all-rounder is all about comfort. So let's look into aerodynamic bike first. Based on study or research, aerodynamic is one of the main things to look at when you talk about speed. Like for example, you can save up to how many watts at certain speeds when it is an aero bike. This is usually the USP that the manufacturer will shout about when they launch the new aero bike. For example, like you get this bike and then you save 5 watts at 40 kilometers per hour. So if you are someone at the competitive age and you like to ride fast, you like to go in a peloton, you like to sprint, then this might be for you. But it is usually great at flat terrain because when you are climbing and you are at 15 or 20 kilometers per hour, aerodynamic doesn't make that much different anymore. It's just like a race car, a Lamborghini or Ferrari, and you see all their shape is made to cut through the wind. The aero bike usually have aero profile, a very edgy shapes, and also the cable is hidden, and then even the handlebar is not in round shape, it's in flat handlebar shape so that it can cut through the wind. And with today's technology, right, like the carbon fiber technology, you can easily mold the tip shape into the shape that you want them to be, and you can even test the result in the wind tunnel. That's aero bike lah. If we go into the next one that we always see in the Tour de France or Giro d'Italia, another type of bike is called lightweight bike or race bike, they call it. This kind of bike, the priority usually is at the weight. The UCI limit is at 6.8 kilogram, right? So most of the manufacturer will try to make their frame as light as possible so that the pro rider can choose a frame that is able to pass the weight limit. So what about the characteristic of lightweight bike or so-called race bike, right? Usually the USP will be the stiffness. The stiffness will be much higher. The frame and fork usually is a sub 1 kg weight. And also nowadays, again, manufacturer tends to add in a little bit aerodynamic feature into race bike as well. Where is this bike most suitable for? It is usually suitable for very hilly terrain. Like if you climb a lot, if you always do Perez, Genting Sempah, Bukit Hantu, then this probably for you because it's light. When you're climbing, when you're fighting the gravity, the weight becomes the most essential. That is the things that you want to stride away so that you can go faster. And the third one will be so-called all-rounder or endurance bike. This is usually for ultra long distance. Almost every other brands, not only Canyon, right? Almost every other brands have their own endurance bike to tackle for this kind of terrain. The famous one will be Paris-Roubaix, where you see all the pro riders, they are using endurance bike. Some of them using S-Works Roubaix, or some of them using the Endurace from Canyon, right? So the priority for all-rounder is always about comfort. So the character about endurance bike, right, is always the head tube is taller and higher so that you don't ride in a very aggressive position. The tire clearance usually will be bigger. You can fit on 32 millimeters tire. You can easily go multi-day touring, or you can go Audex with this kind of bike without hurting your back lah. Since you mentioned that you are interested about Canyon, in Canyon terms, these bikes are named accordingly. Like aero bike, they name it Aerode. The race bike, they call it Ultimate, and then the endurance bike, they call it Endurace. Okay, so this is the main three categories of road bike. You will see on their website, right, they have TT bike, the time trial bike, and also they have the gravel bike. So these two is kind of out of the categories. The time trial, as the name explained, right, is mostly used for time trialing. So this bike is built for speed, like it's even faster than aero bike. But because the design is very dedicated for a short distance sprint, right, the geometry, the handlebar design, the tube shape, and everything is optimized for that. So it's not really suitable for a long ride. For example, if you want to go for 160 kilometers race, right, TT bike might not be that suitable. Usually it used in like 30 to 50 kilometers so that you can sprint all the way. I wouldn't suggest you to go for a TT bike unless you know what you're doing. This kind of bike usually you will see them at time trial event or Ironman event, where all these triathletes, they do swim, run and cycling all together, so they need to get the most out of it. Another one is the gravel bike, which is the one that I own, the Grail and also the Grizzle. Grizzle is the new model, the Grail is the older model. So this is kind of like a new genre for the public. You don't see pro racer, you don't see pro team use a gravel bike in a Tour de France event. This is because this bike is more like a all-road bike. Like it's a hybrid in between mountain bike and road bike. You can go slightly rougher terrain, you can go off-road, you can also maintain your speed at tarmac. In recent years, gravel bike becomes so popular because the brands actually understand that not all cyclists is racer. So there's a lot of cyclists is riding for pleasure. It's the fun of riding. So the gravel bike makes a lot of sense for people like us because we don't fight around the clock. We don't fight around the timer for 3 seconds or 5 seconds faster. We don't try to reach a peak of a hills as fast as we can. And we just want to enjoy the ride. And the character of a gravel bike, usually you will see like it can fit even wider tires. My bike, for example, it can fit until 40 mm tires, and then there is a tires specific for gravel where you can go for sandy terrain or muddy terrain, like the light gravel, the light off-road. And then also there's comfort, and usually it will come with mounting points so that you can put your saddle backpack, you can put your handlebar back, you can load a lot of stuff, and then you can go for bike packing and all those. That is kind of like a lifestyle kind of thing instead of the competition edge. That is kind of like a nutshell for all 5 different types. As a conclusion, aero bike is for speed, lightweight bike is for climbing, endurance bike is for comfort, TT bike is for time trial or Ironman, gravel bike is for people like us who just want to enjoy cycling. I hope I answer your questions, and if you're ordering once, congratulations. New bike days is always the best day. Do let me know what did you get at the end. And that's all for today's video. So if you have any question about bicycle or cycling, do drop me a comment down below. I basically check all your comments because you guys make this channel happen. And if you like this video, do subscribe to the channel and also hit the little bell icon so that you get notification whenever I upload a new video. And until the next one, bye bye.